Hey everyone, this is Chef, and in this video, we're going to talk about Reaper in World vs. World. In the recent balance patch on June 27th, one of ArenaNet's goals was to reduce the number of boon strips and boon corrupts that are available in the game mode. Many of these changes that applied to Scourge do not apply to Reaper, however, and as a result, it's now possible to remove significantly more boons than your Path of Fire counterpart. In this video, we're going to take a look at a Curses Reaper build that maintains high overall damage, coupled with a large number of full boon corrupts and boon strips. Our weapon and armor choices look very similar to a normal Power Reaper build. We use the Marauder prefix on all of our gear, and for our weapons, we continue to use Greatsword and Axe Focus. For our weapon Sigils, however, we'll use a Sigil of Absorption and a Sigil of Energy on our Greatsword, a Sigil of Nullification for our Axe, and a Sigil of Energy for our Focus. Your sources of interrupts for absorption are boon corrupts from Greatsword 4, your pull on Greatsword 5, the fear on Shroud 3, and any time you corrupt stability while your target is casting a spell. We'll also continue to use Runes of the Scholar to help our overall damage profile. Our utility skills will also stay exactly the same as for Power Reaper, with the note that Nothing Can Save You is itself a boon removal skill, in addition to giving your other strikes unblockable. In Spite, we use the following traits. In the Master slot, we're going to use Chill of Death over Awaken the Pain as an additional source of boon strip, as well as enable some of the chill synergies that Reaper has access to. We'll also use Spiteful Spirit instead of Close to Death in the Grandmaster tier, as this is one of the advantages of using Reaper to remove boons rather than Scourge. Spiteful Spirit triggers around you every time you enter Shroud. On Scourge, this is using your F5 skill, Desert Shroud, which has a 30-second cooldown. But on Reaper, this is done using your F1 skill, which only has a 10-second cooldown. As a result, you can use Spiteful Spirit much more often as a Reaper, removing more boons overall. In Curses, we use these traits. Our Master trait, Path of Corruption, is what makes Reaper work so well as a boon remover, because Reaper's Shroud 2 skill, Death's Charge, hits enemies a lot of times. To be specific, it strikes 8 times, and each strike hits 5 targets, for a maximum of 40 strikes per cast. You can also use it every 6 seconds. The cooldown increase that Scourge receives for this trait does not apply to Reaper. And Path of Corruption is not just strips, it's full boon corrupts, which means that you're able to convert high-value boons like Stability all the way into Fear. This is exceptionally powerful if you can use it well and maximize your overall number of strikes with the ability. Finally, in Reaper, we use these traits. We utilize the same chill synergies that we did for the advanced Power Reaper build, as our boon corrupts are an additional source of these conditions. Finally, let's talk skill usage. This Reaper build requires you to actively move through all 3 of your weapon sets, Greatsword, Axe Focus, and your Shroud Kit, and not spend any more time than you need to in any of them. In practice, that usually means starting a fight in Axe to put Axe 3, Axe 2, and Focus 5 on cooldown, then immediately swapping to Greatsword, placing your Nightfall, using Nothing Can Save You, and entering Shroud to proc Spiteful Spirit. Unlike Power Reaper, where you want to camp Shroud as much as possible while in melee, for this build you want to drop Shroud after 1 or 2 uses of Death's Charge, plus 1 use of your Shroud 4 for spike damage, then put the rest of your Greatsword abilities on cooldown, and start over from the beginning in your Axe Focus set. Your Shroud cooldown will eventually get decoupled from your weapon swap cooldown, so try and find opportunities to enter Shroud as often as possible for a Spiteful Spirit trigger, use your Death's Charge, and then drop back out to continue your weapon rotation. Also, when using Death's Charge, you should try and aim at the sides of an enemy stack, rather than directly through the middle of the group, to minimize the amount of damage and crowd control that you have to move through. If your group is able to stay in melee, I think it's very possible that with well-timed usage of Death's Charge, this build should be the most effective boon removal class overall. Competitive with Chronomancer at least, but also generating full boon corrupts while still doing a respectable amount of damage. If you have any questions about this build and the choices that I've made, leave a comment and let me know. And if you'd like to see more videos in the future, consider subscribing. You can also find me on Twitch if you'd like to watch me play these builds in real time and ask questions there. But until then, I've been Chef, and enjoy the rest of your day.